In the small village of Zunda, there lived a woman named Adanna. She was married to Okoye, a prosperous farmer, who had another wife named Neka. Adanna, despite her best efforts, had not been able to bear children. Okoye longed for a son, and Neka, though she had given him a daughter, constantly reminded him of Adanna's perceived failure. Each day, Adanna woke up to cruel remarks from Neka, who mocked her for being childless. Okoye, once affectionate, had grown distant. Adanna's heart ached, not just for a child, but for the love and warmth that seemed to have vanished from her life. She silently endured the cruelty, hoping one day things would change. But with each passing day, her hopes began to wither. One evening, after another bitter argument, Okoye's patience snapped. He coldly approached Adanna, his words sharper than the most painful of cuts. "I have waited long enough," he said. "You have brought nothing but shame to me. I want sons, and you have failed me." Tears filled Adanna's eyes, but she said nothing. Her heart broke, but deep inside, she knew that his words were not new. That night, as the stars twinkled above, Okoye made his decision. He told Adanna to leave. He no longer wanted her as his wife. Her world shattered. In disbelief, Adanna packed what little she had and walked away from the home she had known for years. As she walked out, Neka's laughter echoed behind her, while Okoye looked on with no emotion. Adanna returned to her father's house, broken but determined. Her family welcomed her back with open arms, offering comfort and healing. Her father, a wise elder in the village, told her, "My daughter, do not despair. Life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it." As time passed, Adanna regained her strength. She helped her family with their farming and kept herself busy. One fateful day, while she was gathering water from the river, a royal entourage from the neighboring kingdom passed by. Among them was Prince Isa, a man known for his kindness and wisdom. The prince was immediately struck by Adanna's beauty and grace. He inquired about her and soon learned her story. Unlike others, the prince saw not a barren woman but a soul filled with strength and resilience. Moved by her story, Prince Isa visited her family and asked for her hand in marriage. Adanna was hesitant at first, still nursing the wounds of her past. But her father encouraged her, saying, "This man has a kind heart. Perhaps he is the blessing you have been waiting for." Adanna married Prince Isa and moved to his kingdom, where she was treated with the love and respect she had always longed for. The prince cherished her, not for what she could give him, but for who she was. His love healed the scars left by Okoye and Neka. In time, their love bore fruit. Adanna gave birth to 2 sons, strong and healthy, and later, a beautiful daughter. The palace echoed with the laughter of children, and Adanna's heart was filled with a joy she had never known before. Her life with Prince Isa was everything she had once dreamed of, filled with love, respect, and happiness. Back in Zunda, Okoye's life was far from what he had imagined. Neka, once so proud and confident, had given him no more children. He now had only one daughter, and despite his earlier indifference, he desperately longed for a son to carry on his name. The joy he had expected from his life with Neka never came. With each passing year, Okoye's regret grew. He often heard stories of Adanna's happiness in her new life as the wife of a prince. People spoke of her beautiful children and how loved and cherished she was by Prince Isa. The news pierced Okoye's heart like a dagger. He had thrown away the woman who might have given him the happiness he now sought. As he watched his daughter grow, Okoye realized the depth of his mistakes. Neka too became bitter, and their once prosperous home was filled with tension and sorrow. Okoye lived the rest of his days haunted by his regret, knowing that Adanna had found the life he had selfishly denied her. Adanna's life, on the other hand, was a testament to resilience and hope. Despite the cruelty and heartbreak she had faced, she had found love and happiness in a place she never expected. She and Prince Ease raised their children with love and wisdom, teaching them the importance of kindness and strength in the face of adversity. Their kingdom flourished, and Adanna became known as a queen with a gentle heart and an unbreakable spirit. The people of the land admired her for her grace and kindness, and her family was the joy of her life. Adanna's story spread far and wide, a tale of how true happiness comes not from clinging to those who hurt us, but from finding the strength to let go and embrace the love we deserve. As the years passed, Adanna's life remained full of joy, while Okoye lived in the shadow of his regret. He often thought of her and the life they might have had together, but it was too late. Adanna had moved on to a better life, a life where she was loved, respected, and cherished. Her story became a lesson for many in the village of Zunda and beyond, that love, kindness, and respect are the foundations of true happiness, and that sometimes what seems like a curse is actually the beginning of a blessing. Years had passed since Adanna's life took a new turn, but the memory of her past sometimes visited her in quiet moments. One afternoon, as she sat with her daughter under the shade of a large baobab tree in the palace garden, a messenger arrived from Zunda, her home village. The man was an elder, his face marked by the lines of wisdom and age. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing low, "I bring news from your former home." Adanna listened with patience, though her heart briefly fluttered with the memories of the place she had once called home. The elder spoke carefully, knowing the delicacy of the matter. "Your former husband, Okoye, is gravely ill. He wishes to see you before he leaves this world." The request stirred many emotions in Adanna: anger, sadness, pity, and curiosity. She had built a new life and had left the pain of her past behind. But the thought of Okoye, now an old and broken man, asking for her presence, pulled at her heart. After a moment of silence, she thanked the elder and said, "I will speak to my husband and think about it." Later that evening, Adanna shared the message with Prince Isa. He listened carefully, holding her hand as she spoke. "What do you feel in your heart, Adanna?" he asked gently. "I know this is not an easy decision for you." Adanna sighed. "Part of me wants to let go of that chapter, to leave it buried in the past. But another part of me feels that perhaps seeing him now in his final moments may bring closure to what was left unresolved." Prince Ise, ever the compassionate soul, nodded. "Do what you feel is right, my love. You have no obligation to him, but if this is something you need for your peace, then I will support your decision." Adanna smiled, grateful for the understanding of the man who had given her a new life. "I will go," she decided, "but not out of obligation, only to see the man who was once a part of my story." Adanna returned to Zunda the next day, arriving at Okoye's compound, which seemed far more worn than she remembered. The walls that once stood strong now showed signs of neglect, much like the man she came to see. Okoye was lying on a mat, frail and weak, his eyes sunken and his voice barely a whisper. When he saw Adanna, his eyes welled with tears. "Adanna," he rasped, I treated you so terribly. I was a fool." His voice broke and he struggled to continue. I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. I thought I wanted sons, but now I see that it was you, your love that I needed most." Adanna knelt beside him, her heart softened by the sight of this once proud man, now humbled by his mistakes. "Okoye," she said gently, I forgave you long ago. I found happiness, but I never wished you harm. I hope you find peace. Okoye closed his eyes, a tear escaping down his cheek. Thank you, he whispered, his voice barely audible. I have lived with so much regret. I only wish I could have seen what was truly important before it was too late. Adanna stayed with him for a while, speaking softly, not out of love, but out of compassion. Okoye, burdened by years of regret, passed away that evening, finding a sense of peace in her forgiveness. After Okoye's passing, Adanna felt a sense of relief and resolution. She had faced the man who had caused her so much pain, and in doing so, she realized how far she had come. The past no longer had power over her. She was free. On her journey back to the kingdom, Adanna thought about the life she had built with Prince Eze, a life filled with love, joy, and fulfillment. She smiled, knowing that her true destiny had always been with him and their children. The chapter with Okoye had ended, but it was only the beginning of her story. As the palace gates came into view, Adanna's heart swelled with happiness. Her children ran out to greet her, their laughter filling the air. Prince Eze stood at the entrance waiting with open arms. She had returned not only to a home, but to the life she was meant to live. In the years that followed, Adanna's family flourished. Her sons grew into wise and strong young men, while her daughter became the pride of the kingdom, known for her beauty and kindness. Together with Prince Eze, they ruled the kingdom with love and fairness. And Adanna's heart overflowed with the joy of motherhood and partnership. Adanna often reflected on the path her life had taken. She had faced betrayal, cruelty, and heartbreak. Yet she emerged stronger and more resilient. Her life with Prince Eze was proof that love, when pure and genuine, could heal even the deepest wounds. The people of the kingdom admired their queen for her grace and wisdom. She became a symbol of hope for those who suffered, a reminder that no matter how dark the night may seem, the dawn always brings light. Adanna's story was told for generations, a tale of redemption, forgiveness, and the power of love to transform lives. Years later, as Adanna grew old, she reflected on the life she had built. Her children were now grown, and the kingdom continued to prosper under their leadership. She sat one afternoon with her grandchildren, telling them the story of her journey. From the pain she endured in her first marriage to the joy she found with Prince Eze. Remember, she told them, her voice soft yet firm. Life will test you, but it will also reward you if you remain true to yourself. Never let anyone tell you your worth. You decide that for yourself. Her grandchildren listened in awe, and they too would carry her story forward, passing it down to future generations as a lesson in resilience, love, and forgiveness. And so, Adanna lived the rest of her days surrounded by love, the life she had once only dreamed of, now a reality. She had found her peace, and her legacy would live on forever. This story weaves a tale of redemption, the power of forgiveness, and the ultimate triumph of love and resilience over hardship. What did you learn from this story? Put your comment in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.